السلام عليكم طلاب. اليوم راح نبدي بسيستم جديد اللي هو السبيشال سينس، والمحاضرة الأولى اللي راح تتعلق بالفيجن راح نسويها تو بارتس. شوية الفيجن مادة طويلة، يعني سيستم بتفاصيل كثيرة، فراح نسويها تو بارتس على محاضرتين. المحاضرة الأولى راح تشتمل على الانترودكشن تو اي، والمحاضرة الثانية راح نكمل بها الميكانيزم اوف فيجن. As objective learning to this lecture, in this lecture we are study to describe the structure of the eye and the function of its compound.
The eye and the vision. 70% of all sensory receptors are in the eyes. So each eye has over 1 million nerve fibers protection of the eye. Most of the eye is enclosed in a bony orbit. So this bony orbit are made up of the lacrimal, ethmoid and sphenoid, frontal and zygomatic and maxilla. So a cushion of fat surround most of the eye. As we said, the structure of the eye is a spherical structure filled with liquid various humor, and this is called aqueous humor. This will be occur in the front of the lens. So what is the accessory structure of the eye? This will be include the salivary gland, and this is modified for sweat glands between the eyelashes and secrete acidic sweat to kill bacteria. Also lubricate eyelashes. So in this figures or in this picture we can see the lacrimal gland. We can see the structure of the eye and appear the lacrimal gland. Also we can see the salivary gland and eyelashes. Are the accessory structure of the eye. Now eyelids is responsible for brush particle of the eye or cover eye and trap particles and keep them out of the eye, while conjunctiva, it is a membrane that line to the eyelids and connect to the surface of the eye, forms a seal. What is the function of this? It is responsible for the secrete mucus to lubricate the eye. Responsible for secrete mucus to lubricate the eye. Now, when this conjunctiva are inflamed, it will be forms a conjunctivitis. Now, what is mean of this term? It is mean inflammation of the conjunctiva, and this is caused by the bacterial or viral infection. We can see in this picture a highly contagious, and this will be appear in this eye like redness and inflammation, and occur in all the sides of the eye, especially in the conjunctiva. Lacrimal apparatus. It is consist from lacrimal gland and the lacrimal canal. So the lacrimal gland are produce lacrimal fluid, while lacrimal canals are drains lacrimal fluid from the eye. And this is the figure will be appear the lacrimal gland and excretory duct of the lacrimal gland, and you can see the eyelid, eyelashes, also meibomian gland in this structure of the lacrimal apparatus. the lacrimal gland and lacrimal canal are connect together to produces lacrimal fluid and also drains lacrimal fluid for the eye. What is the function of the lacrimal apparatus? So the main function of it is the properties of lacrimal fluid about dilute salt solution, which means the tears, and contain antibodies that will be also have lysozymes to destroy bacteria. So the main function is the protection. Also moistens and lubricates the eye, as we have said. The structure of the eye is consist of three tonica. Will mean fibrous tonic, choroid, and sensory tonic. Now, fibrous tonic, it will be means outside layer, and you can see in this picture of the eye, we can see the fibrous tonic, we can see the choroid, which means middle layer, and sensory tonic, it will be inside layer. Also in this picture we can see the lens, we can see the cornea, iris, pupil, and sclera, choroid. This is the structure, have different part of the eye in the general eye structure. Now, the fibrous tonic is consist from sclera and cornea. Now, sclera, it means Y connective tissue. Y connect tissue layer can be seen interiorly as the white of the eye, so it will be semi-transparent, while cornea, it is transparent, found in the central anterior portion. It will be allow for light to pass through, refracts or bends light slightly. Also, it will be repair itself easily. This is the cornea, can be repairs itself easily. And this part of the body, this part of the human tissue can be transplanted without any rejection, without any fear about rejection, rather than other types of the tissue that will be transparent inside the body, like kidney transplant as example. The body can be refused, but this tissue transplant can be transplanted inside the body from other tissue without any fear for rejection. In this picture, you can see the iris, pupil, and sclera. That's clear in this types of, or that's clear in this picture. We can see three structure of the eye that will be iris, the pigmented, and sclera اللي هي الوايت, and the pupil اللي هي الداركس inside the eye. Now lens. Lens mean by convex crystal-like structure held in place by a sensory ligament attached to the ciliary body, and it will be responsible for reflects light greatly. Can see the lens by concave and can be reflect light greatly. Light or lens accommodation. We have two types, or from light focused in the lens, in this or in A. Light must be focused to a point on the retina for optimal vision. Now light from distant source in A, you can see the light must be focused to the point of the retina for optimal vision in A case, while in B case the eye is set for the distance vision, the lens must be change shaped. You can see the difference between A cases and B cases. In A cases, the light must be focused on the point for the optimal vision, and while in the B cases, light from near source, so we can see the lens that will be change shaped to have a focus for a closer object. The second layer or the middle layer in the eye, it will be choroid layer. So it is a blood-rich nutritive tonic modified anteriorly into two structures. Now means ciliary body and iris. Ciliary body اللي هي السموث muscle, while الارز اللي هي pigmented layer. We can see it in the previous slide. Iris are pigmented layer that give the eye color, and also we can see the pupil. It will be rounded opening in the iris. This we are show it in the previous slide. That will be appear for the pupil, iris, and ciliary body. Sensory tonic اللي تشتمل على الريتنا contain receptor cell. This is very important because retina, because it is contain the sensory receptor اللي هي الفوتوس receptors تشتمل على الروتس and الكونز. So signal leave the retina toward the brain through the optic nerve, and signal pass from the photoreceptor via the two neuron chain. Signal arrive from retina toward the brain through the optic nerve, and this signal can be passed from the photoreceptor, which mean roots and cone, via the two neuron chain. What is mean of retina? Retina, it is a neural tissue. It is a neural tissue outside the brain, extend anteriorly to the ciliary body and organized in the layer with 5 types of different neurons. These 5 types of different neurons include visual receptor, which means cone and roots, and also bipolar cell, ganglion cell, endocrine cell, and horizontal cell. Horizontal cell connect many receptors, cone and roots, to the bipolar cell. This is types of different neuron cells are communicate together for cooperation to have a best vision during night or day. Bipolar cell transmit signal from the root and cones, and horizontal cell to ganglion cell. As we have said, this is types of cell, this is types of neuron are connect together to have a best vision. Endocrine cell transmit signal in the two direction, maybe either direction from the bipolar cell to the ganglion cell, or horizontally with the inner plexiform layer between dendrites of the pilolar cell. The light must pass through the ganglion and bipolar cell to reach to the roots and cone. Without ganglion, without bipolar cell, if this have any defect of this types of neural cells, the cones and root cannot be work, and the eye didn't have any best vision. So the signal or the light must be passed during this to reach to the roots and cone and have actual vision in these cases. The optic nerve leave the eye and retinal blood vessels enter it at a 0.3 millimeter medial to end to the lightly above the posterior pool of the globule through an area called the blind spot, which has no photoreceptor. In this places, this will be called a blind spot. A blind spot didn't have any photoreceptors, didn't have any roots or cones, so optic nerve leave the eye and retinal blood for above the posterior pool. This is through the area is called blind spot. This picture appear. You can see the iris, the pupil, and roots and cones, the structure of the eye, lens, cornea, retina, optic nerve, blind spot in this types of picture. And we can see the figure have a structure of the eyes and have the roots and cones. Also blind spot appear in the end of the optic nerve, while the iris and cornea and lens in the front of the eye to receive the picture and then analysis by the optic nerve in the end of the eye, passing during the roots and cones. Near the posterior pool of the eye, there is a yellowish pigmented area called the macula lutea, which marks the location of the fovea centrals. Now, what is mean of fovea centrals? It is a thin cavity. It is a thin cavity-free portion of the retina contain only cone cell, and consider the area of the greatest visual acuity. It is very important in this structure of the eye. Fovea centrals is a thin cavity, a free portion of the retina, and contain only cone cell without roots. And this are considered the area of greatest visual acuity, and also didn't have any blood vessels in this fovea centrals.
تعلمنا بنهاية كل محاضرة نوجه سؤال. السؤال مالتنا اللي يتعلق بمحاضرة اليوم: What is the function of the retina? As a recap to this lecture, first, 70% of all sensory receptors are in the eyes, and also each eyes have over 1 million nerve fibers. Second, the wall is composed of 3 tonics, اللي هي الفايبرس tonic, choroid and sensory tonic. Third, the retina contain receptor cells اللي هي الphotoreceptors. نقصد بها الروتس and cones. And the retina, it is a neural tissue outside the brain, extend anteriorly to the cellular body and organized in 10 layer with 5 types of different neurons. هاي اللي هي الاميجران سيلز والنيورال سيلز البايبولار سيلز، هاي اللي موجودة بالمحاضرة هي اللي نقصد بها ال 5 different types of neurons. إلى هنا انتهت المحاضرة الأولى اللي تتعلق بالintroduction to the eye. شكرا جزيلا.